Hello everyone, welcome to another video of Concept X. Today in this lecture we are going to discuss about the different types of cancer. So commonly we have varieties numbers of cancer. So the first one or the most common one is carcinoma. So what is carcinoma? So it is the most common form and it affects the epithelial cells or cells which present at the linings of the internal organs. For example, let's suppose this is our lungs. So this is our lungs. So in this lungs and the outside linings, so lungs is internal organs. So at the linings of at the outer linings we have epithelial cell. So let's suppose these are our epithelial cell which covers the outer linings. So if somehow these cells get affected by any kind of malignancies or cancer, then that cancer will be considered as carcinoma. So the most common types of cancer, and it affects the epithelial cell which form the linings of internal organs or the skin as well. So suppose this is the skin. So these are our hair follicles are there, so through which here's this is one segment of our skin. So at the outside segments, if those epithelial cells those are present at the outer linings of our skin as well, epithelial cells are present at the outer linings. So if these cells are also affected by any kind of cancer, then that cancer will also consider as carcinoma. So carcinoma is nothing but the cancer which occurs on the epithelial cell which form the linings or outer linings of our internal organs. For example, lungs, or as well as skin also. Skin is it's not obviously an internal organ, it is not an internal, it's the external organ, but skin, if skin cells or the outer linings of skin cells are also affected by cancer, then that will also considered as carcinoma. But remember that carcinoma mainly affects the epithelial cells. So if epithelial cells are there and those cells are affected by cancer, then that cancer will be considered as carcinoma. And these epithelial cells are mostly found in the linings of our internal organs. So this is the outer linings. So if these cells are affected by cancer, then that cancer will be called as carcinoma. As well as in skin, so if the linings of our skin is also affected by cancer, then it will be also called as carcinoma. So few major example of carcinoma is your lung cancer, skin cancer, pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer. So these are the common manifestation or common example of carcinoma. So now we are going to discuss about the sarcoma. So what is the sarcoma? Suppose this is sarcoma. So sarcoma, it basically affects the soft tissues. Soft tissues, those are present in our human body. So soft tissues such as fats, fat tissues, soft tissues, for example fats, then cartilages, then blood vessels. So these are the few common examples of soft tissues. If somehow these types of tissues are affected by cancer, then that cancer will be referred to as sarcoma. So one of the major example of sarcoma is the bone cancer, or we can say osteosarcoma. So one of the major example of sarcoma, we can say major example of sarcoma is osteosarcoma or cancer in bones. So if bones are got affected by cancer, then at that stage we're going to consider it as osteosarcoma, and osteosarcoma is a kind of your sarcoma. So it is the most common type of sarcoma. And another soft tissue apart from fat, cartilages, blood vessels, we can consider your tendons, ligaments. So these are also kind of soft tissues. So blood vessels, so definitely they will definitely come inside our soft tissues. So if blood vessel, fat, cartilages, tendons, ligaments, if they are got affected by cancer, then that cancer will be called as sarcoma. So sarcoma basically affects soft tissues, and carcinoma, it affects mostly epithelial tissues, which is present at the linings of internal organs. So this is the linings, so it is called as internal linings, so external linings, and these linings are made by epithelial cells. So if epithelial cells are affected by cancer, which is called by, will refer to as carcinoma. And if our soft tissues, those are present in our blood vessel, fat, cartilages, tendon, ligaments, and then it will be referred to as your sarcoma. And if bones are also got affected by cancer, then also it will be called as sarcoma. So next we are going to discuss about your leukemia. So what is the leukemia? So let's discuss it. So what is the leukemia? So what is the leukemia? So leukemia is commonly known as the blood cancer. So it is the blood cancer. So what happens in leukemia? So leukemia, it affects the tissues of the bone marrows, which is responsible for blood production, means RBC production, platelets productions, WBC's production. So it is the one of the most fatal form of cancer. So leukemia is completely different from other types of cancer. It is caused by the uncontrolled production of white blood cells. So what is leukemia? It is nothing but the uncontrolled production of WBCs or white blood cells. So another term, it is the blood cancer. You can say there is a increased production of WBCs. We can write that. So leukemia is a blood cancer which is completely different from other types of sarcoma and carcinoma. They are completely different from that. So it basically affects the production of red blood cells, platelets, and there is a increased amount of WBC production. So we know there is a spongy bone or there is a hard bone is there. So this part is called epiphysis, and the middle part is called diaphysis. So RBC and platelets form from our epiphysis part, and this from the middle part our WBCs is formed, and here our RBCs, here also RBCs and platelets as well. So middle part WBCs production. So what happened? WBCs production will increase in leukemia. So increased production of WBC. So these WBC now going to destroy our RBCs production. It will decrease the RBCs, and as well as it will decrease the production of platelets. It will decrease the production of platelets as well as RBCs. So if production of this abnormal white blood cell production or increased production of white blood cells, it continues to divide and damage the complete normal blood cells. Means they are going to destroy the RBCs and they are going to destroy the platelets. As a result, if these kind of things are continuously going on inside a patient, then as a result what will happen? The leukemia patient fail to provide adequate red blood cell to supply oxygen. So they will not able to supply the adequate quantities of RBCs which is demanded inside our body. So if WBC production increases, they are going to destroy our RBCs and platelets. As a result, patient is unable to provide, or it fails to provide, the adequate concentration of RBCs and platelets for the maintain the normal homeostasis. So there will be a hypoxia, and there will be a no coagulation of blood during bleeding because platelets are not there. So patient unable to coagulate the blood. So this is the most fatal one. What will happen in case of our leukemia, which affects our production of RBCs and production of platelets, and there will be increased production of WBCs from our diaphysis part. This is the middle part, is called diaphysis. So this is called epiphysis or spongy bone. So from the spongy bone, RBCs production and our platelet production will decrease. And what will increase? WBCs production. WBC production will be increased, and as a result, these WBCs is going to destroy our RBCs and platelets. So RBCs, which carry the hemoglobins, and hemoglobins is mainly responsible for oxygen carrier or oxygen transport. So if RBCs are destroyed, then there will be no hemoglobins and no supply of oxygen. As a result, hypoxia will occur. And if platelets is not there, then what will happen? There will be no coagulation of blood. So blood coagulation will fails. So this is our leukemia. So next we are going to discuss about the lymphoma. So what is lymphoma? So lymphoma is nothing but your cancer that affects the lymphocyte. So lymphoma, we can directly say it is a type of cancer which affects the lymphocytes, inside the lymph node. So what is lymph node? In future video we are going to discuss that. So remember, inside our lymph node we have lymphocytes. So our lymphocytes could be two different types. One is B lymphocyte, another one is T lymphocyte. So these two are lymphocytes, and they are directly related to maintain our immune system. So both B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte, they are responsible to maintain our immune system. So now you see, if cancer affects the lymphocytes, then what will happen? In that case, definitely immunity will be considered. Immunity will be definitely decreased, and if immunity decrease, then there is a high chances of other disease occurrence, because the bacteria, virus, protozoa, parasites, they will definitely, it is a very easy to enter inside that host which is immunity is considered. If immunity is considered or decreased immunity, in that case that person is more susceptible for concurrent your kind of disorders or diseases. So lots of disease could be occur inside that person if that person is immunity compromised person. So in that case, or his immunity is compromised, or in that case, what will happen? That patient is more susceptible for any kind of infections. So lymphoma, it is nothing but the cancer cell which affects the lymphocytes. So both T and B lymphocytes will be affected, and if they are affected, then immunity will be compromised, and in that immunity compromised person, there will be a high chances of infections. So this is called the lymphoma. So it is nothing but it's a form of cancer that affects the lymphocyte in the lymph node, and these both the lymphocytes are they are the very integral part of our immune system maintenance. So next type of cancer is the melanoma. So what is melanoma? So before going to discuss that, what is melanoma, let's discuss something about the body pigments. So one of the body pigments which is present in human body or human body color is mainly responsible because of the our body pigments, which is name is melanin, and this melanin, it is secreted by melanocyte. So what is happen if this pigment, our melanin pigment, if melanin pigment concentration is increased, as a result what will happen, there will be increase body pigment, or that cancer, if it affects our melanocytes, then there is a increased numbers of melanocytes, then lots and lots of melanocytes will start producing melanin. So there will be increased body pigment, or body pigments will be increased, and that is called a melanoma. So what is melanoma? Melanoma is a kind of skin cancer that targets the melanin. So what is a melanin? Melanin is a kind of body pigments responsible for our body color. So melanin, it's a pigment. So point to be remember, it is a pigment and it is responsible for our body color. So it is responsible for body color. So what happened in case of melanoma? In this form of cancer, the melanocytes are affected. So these melanocytes, it will affected and resulting abnormal formation of melanin. So as it is a cancer, so definitely melanocyte concentration will be increased. If melanocyte concentration increase, then what will happen? Concentration of melanin will also increase. So in a normal body human, if it is a hand, so there will be a small dark pigments will be generated. Means in this side, those melanocyte concentration is increased, and melanocyte is continuously producing excess amount of melanin or body pigment. So that the specific side of that body will become so much darkish color. So that is our, we can say that is the initiation or the manifestation of melanoma, which affects the melanocytes. So melanocyte concentration will be increased. If melanocyte concentration increase, they will increase the concentration of your melanin as well. So increase body pigments. The body pigments will definitely increase, but in a specific site. So this is called the melanoma. So this is the common different types of cancer, which basically found in human body. So hope you like this video. Thank you.